Hello, this is Ella from Application UK, and joining me today is Stella, our senior consultant with more than 5 years of experience helping international students who want to study in the UK. So for the past few months, we've had many questions from students asking about the recommendation letter, one of the most important documents you will need in your master's application. Therefore, today we'll be talking about that. Hello, Stella.
Hi, morning.
So, what is a recommendation letter, and where or from whom can the students get that recommendation letter?
Okay, a recommendation letter, also known as a reference letter, so can be issued from your previous employer, and also a tutor and teacher that can recommend the individual's work. Well, I think as here we're really talking about academic reference letter. So it's a recommendation that highlights students' academic history and also sometimes career goals as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many reference letters should the students get? How many recommendation letters should the students get?
For postgraduate application, all university require for 2 academic reference letter.
Yeah.
But
so does that mean that the recommendation letters has to be academic ones?
I think for mature students, and then if let's say students had working experience, particularly like they had more than 1 year full-time working experience, 1 academic reference and also 1 work reference will be sufficient as well.
Oh, okay. So the next question is, some people say that if students have more than 2 letters, that would be better because it will give the university more of a well-rounded picture of the student, and it will be especially helpful if you want to apply for the scholarship. What do you think?
I think genuinely, like, university only ask for 2 academic reference letter.
Oh,
And if the case that you think having a 3rd one or 4th one is gonna give you the extra bonus to add on your application, you can always obviously send a separate email after your application is submitted, and then to the admission team. However, having said that, I think certain universities clearly says they only want a reference letter. For example, LSE, I think on their website says you should not submit more than 2 reference letter.
Yeah.
So it's not the case of the more the merrier.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, great. So about the title of the referees, how important is that? And let's say if the students can get the recommendation letters from someone like higher ranking, does it mean that the recommendation letters will be stronger? I
personally don't really think that is the case because let's say compared to reference letter, and then you have one is your personal tutor, probably the other one is from the dean, and then the personal tutor one, because he or she might have a more interaction with the students, obviously the reference letter is stronger in terms of content in comparison of the general one.
Yeah.
So in that case, the personal tutor one probably works better than the other one. So it's not the case that the higher the position is, and then the amount more value that you will have in the reference letter.
So does it mean that relevancy is more important?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's very important for the student to bear in mind. So you will require someone who knows about you, who is relevant to you to give recommendation for you. It will be better than just someone higher ranking, but don't know very well about you, because they're going to say something very general.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Okay. So how long should a recommendation letter be, and what sort of information should be included in that?
Normally, I think the reference letter I've seen is generally about 1 page, 2 page max, I would say, and then like I do actually have a reference letter here, a good reference letter here as an example. So generally, you will cover your referee's experience with you. So for example, is this your tutor? And then like the one I've got, and then this referee particularly mentioned this student is a hardworking and is very highly motivated, and also she was among the top 5 in her section, which among 104 students enrolled, which is very impressive, I think. And then the referee also mentioned that she took time to ensure that the students submit excellent work and very impressive. So I think this is one of the things that they need to cover. Another thing is these students' potential, because at the end of the day, you're using this reference letter to submit a postgraduate application. So like the end of this reference letter, and then the referee mentioned, I highly recommend this student to your MSc program. So because she has this is potential, and then she can be a good and a successful student.
I see. So I think in that sample recommendation letter, one thing that we need to point out is that it's quite specific, and the referees give specific examples. So he does not just like say it is good, the person is good, is hard working or anything.
When you say good, I mean define good. If,
that's the
if
thing.
you say the students is hard working, and then give us examples, and then that will be that will be really good.
Okay. So that's something of the content of the recommendation letter. How about the presentation of the letter?
Presentation-wise, I think generally with reference letter, I've got this one. So normally you will need a university title, and then university obviously address and contact details. And then date that the referee issued a reference letter, and also obviously the referee's contact details and the title. Obviously you needed the referee to sign on the back of the page as well. So I think what we will do is we will list some samples on our website and on our social media as well for students that want to have a read at the format of the reference letter, and you may just check on our Facebook later.
So be sure to check on our website and our Facebook page. And the next question comes from mostly mature students. So for mature students, they have graduated from a long time ago, and then they're just like at some point they just want to go back to university to do a master's degree, but then after some time they might have lost contact with their lecturers, and then when they get back to the lecturers, they may forget them. So in which case, how can they get a good quality recommendation letter?
That's actually a really good question, because imagine this tutor had 104 just in that 1 year, and then after a couple of years, it's just very normal that they don't really remember you. So in my case, I was a mature student myself. So when I contact my lecturer, so I attached my transcript, and I contacted those tutors that lecturers that I had a higher score. So I said, I participated in this seminar, and also I was in the module of this, which were taught by you, and I achieved this score. I really do enjoy that, and then I'm planning to apply this university, this course, and there is a strong connection of this, and I think that I really need your help to give me a reference letter in support of my application. And I think I think that will help, and then just give them some help in terms of academic, and then give them some samples. So you try to try to remind them of the experience.
So what you're saying is trying to tactfully give them some information that you want to be put into.
Spoon feed
so feed them a bit like in a good way, in a careful way, you see. Okay, thank you. And the next question comes from international students in certain countries. I won't name the country, obviously, but it seems to be a common practice for students in certain countries to write their own recommendation letter and then just give it to the lecturer or the manager to approve, and then give them the signature. What do you think about that?
It's not right.
It's not.
No, I think I kind of get it, because if your tutor and if your lecturer, English is not their first language, and as a second language, if the language ability is not quite sufficient to issue a reference letter in English, so it's going to be really difficult for them to do that. So in that case, I do recommend still ask your referee to issue the reference letter in their own language, and then just to go to obviously just find a certified translation company, and then get them obviously to translate that for you.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then when you do your application, submit both documents to the university.
Yeah.
Just in case, and if the university do contact your referee to verify some of the details, some of the content, then at least it is valid.
Yeah, I see. I think that's something that the students should take notice of as well, because it's not applicable in all countries.
No.
For example, in some some of the European countries or in America, they don't really accept that, right?
No.
And then it can be risky as well, because if the lecturers don't write recommendation letters for you, then sometimes they don't remember what is included in there,
Exactly.
right? And so it could be risky for you when the universities actually contact the person about the information in there.
Definitely.
So you definitely should take notice of that.
Yeah.
The next question, for some students, when they ask their referees to give recommendation letter, sometimes because those lecturers or those managers are so busy, they may take a rather long time, sometimes up to 4 weeks, and the students just wonder whether or not they can apply anyway without recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. That's the common practice actually in the UK. So when students are genuinely asking for a reference letter, instead of giving you a written reference letter, they will just say, you can just put down my name and my contact details to the university you want to apply to, and they will contact me directly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in fact, I think University of Warwick and also University College of London, these are two of the universities that only accept that reference that was issued directly by the referee.
Oh, really?
So if you do have a written reference, you submit as the supporting document for your application. They won't even accept that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so
I see. I think that's a very interesting point you just mentioned, because we have some questions from UK-based students as well. So they're international
Mainly
students,
international
based
students,
based in the UK, studying undergraduate degree in the UK. And when they want to go on to do another master's in the UK, they usually will ask their lecturers to give a reference, and then the lecturers would say, yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
it's kind of confusing for the student.
I think so. Yeah, as long as you get the verbally okay or email, just say sure. Put down my details.
The thing is, the students will be rather confused. They don't know whether or not the lecturers mean they will write the recommendation
I think
letter
as long
for
as you get a verbally, like if the referee verbally mentioned that okay, and or email just reply your request, say sure, then that means that you got their permission already, just to put down their details on the application form, and then whenever they receive the email, and they will issue the reference letter.
So you're saying that they only allow you to put their name down in their CV, for example, and it's not like they are going to write the letter for you unless they are
specific. And I think there's specific things that I don't really think, because imagine like your referees are like tutors normally are very busy, so they don't know who's really serious about applying for for the university and who's not. So they will only issue those ones that when they receive a request via email.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you very much, Stella.
No problem.
And thank you very much for listening to watching today's video. If you have any question about recommendation letter or anything else relating to studying for a master's in the UK, do feel free to contact us via info@applicationuk.com. We also have included some sample recommendation letters on our website, so be sure to check out the website at www.applicationuk.com. Thank you very much, and see you next time.